Hello and welcome to FTTR, I'm Hugh McQuaid, and today it is our first NWA Power review for the week of the 20th of the 4th, 2021. 20th of April 2021. Well, technically it's the day before, but I technically watched it today. Who cares? This is this week's episode of NWA Power. I'm going to do a run through what I thought of each segment and let you know my thoughts on this week's episode. So, NWA Power kicked off with a really good interview segment with Nick Aldis. Now, this is feeling a little bit sort of Roman Reigns-y in that he's opening the show as the champion. However, Nick Aldis has a really good sort of prowess to him. The way he just sort of speaks his words is just really smarmy and dastardly, and just like, oh, what a dickhead. And basically he called out Trevor Murdoch, who on the last episode came in and interrupted his final match in the main event. And here we set up the fact that Nick Aldis does not want Trevor Murdoch to go for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Whether that's because he's scared or whether that's just because he doesn't think anything of Trevor Murdoch. Aldis has got this sort of superiority complex, let's say that, and Trevor Murdoch is a grassroots babyface in the vein of a Stone Cold Steve Austin, but maybe a little bit more sympathetic. And Trevor Murdoch came out and we got a match announced for the main event. It was a 6-man tag, Strictly Business and a mystery partner versus Trevor Murdoch and 2 partners of his choice, with the stipulation being that if Trevor Murdoch's team lose, Trevor Murdoch is suspended for 30 days without pay. Now, this was a really good stipulation, and this episode, to be honest, sort of felt like just one big story. I mean, you've got the women's section, the women's division stuff that came later, but sort of the next match really fed into the main event, which I thought was a cool way to do it. We got one other match sort of on the card that didn't feed into the main event. But I think that's a really interesting way to do it, just to have this one big... It feels like a drama. It doesn't feel like a wrestling show because all the stories sort of feed into one. And that was really good. I thought the promo that both guys caught was really good. Trevor Murdoch is an incredible promo. I think he really gives off sort of the sympathetic babyface vibes, and he does it really well. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of Trevor Murdoch. Following that segment, we had a match between Sal... I can't pronounce his name very well. Let me just see how I wrote it down. Renaro? Let's go with that. Versus Kratos. Now, Kratos is embroiled in this sort of rivalry with his own partner, who is currently the NWA Tag Team Championship with, Aaron Stevens. And this match was a lot more of an angle, more than it was an actual match. I mean, Kratos got to show an insanely cool deadlift suplex that he did. That looked amazing. But what happened was he started beating down Sal in the ropes and got himself disqualified. It came to a no contest. But what happened after was Aaron Stevens ran down and sort of, he's the good guy in this team. Kratos is the bad guy, as he showed that as after this match he aligned himself with Strictly Business, revealed himself as the 3rd member of the team in the Trevor Murdoch match later, which eventually prompted Aaron Stevens to... He's just full babyface. It's really cool having sort of a heel and a babyface on the same team. It isn't something we've seen that much of, to be honest, in like current wrestling product. Not that I can think of anyway. So what happened was Kratos, lost it, and he went and confronted Tim Storm at the announcers table, and I thought this was building a singles match between the two, maybe for next week, maybe for the upcoming pay-per-view that I think is in July. But no, that fed into the main event, which I'll get to later. I think they had a really good interaction though. Kratos is really cool. He's got a really cool look, and he doesn't talk that much. I don't know how he is talking, but also the guys from Strictly Business, they're just so cool. Strictly Business is really cool. I really love Strictly Business at the moment. Chris Adonis. Damn. Chris Adonis. Look at Chris Adonis. There you go. So it was really fun. It was a really fun encounter. Now, possibly my least favourite thing on this show Well, first of all, we got a... Oh, man, I can't read my own handwriting. Sorry if I'm looking down. It's my first time. I need a prompter. I need a prompter to do these reviews. We got a promo between Slice Boogie and Jax... I can't read what I wrote. Jax Doon. And this was building on stuff that happened at the previous NWA pay-per-view, and they've got a Falls Count Anywhere match coming up. This was really solid stuff. It was nothing special, nothing amazing, but I thought it got over the characters really well. You know, it really reminds me, Slice Boogie really reminds me of sort of Max Caster vibes and getting the Acclaimed vibes from him. And Jax Doon just looks hard. He just looks hard. Be scared of him. So I'm really excited for a Falls Count Anywhere match. I think that'd be cool in an NWA setting. I've never seen that before. So I'm really looking forward to that match. Next up, we had the TV title match between Tyrus and Da Pope. Not much for Tyrus. I think his gimmick's a bit off. Like, he's cool, he's big, and he's very imposing, but his matches just aren't particularly engaging. I was really into Pope though. Pope had a flurry because it was a TV title match. He's got 6 minutes and 5 seconds. Pretty sure it had on the clock. But his sort of comeback sequence towards the end was really cool, really fiery. You've got all the stuff with Austin Idol on the outside, which I thought was a bit... wasn't too into that. The whole Austin Idol on commentary sort of distracting. It was weird. That was weird. But the match itself I thought was okay. Didn't think it was anything standout. But Da Pope really impressed me. The finish was Tyrus got Da Pope on the outside and just choked him out, and then time expired, so it was technically a victory or a retention for Pope, and Tyrus didn't really lose anything because he choked him out on the outside, so I suppose it keeps both guys protected. I don't know where this is going to go, maybe to a stipulation sort of match, but I don't really want to see Tyrus win the belt, to be honest. That's just not for me. I can take or leave Tyrus. Next up, we had an NWA Women's Championship segment. Now, I haven't seen Serena Deeb on the last 2 episodes that I've watched, and she is obviously the champion. So I don't know if there's anything going on there, but it was between Thunder Rosa and Camille. But they had to have 2 people speak for them because NWA, the National Wrestling Alliance, wanted them to settle this peacefully, like that would ever work. But it was interesting. Melina spoke for Thunder Rosa and Tyron spoke for Camille. They had some interesting back and forth, you know. It's sort of setting up this #1 contenders rematch between Rosa and Camille. I thought it was okay. Camille's really cool. Thunder Rosa's really cool. So I'm not going to get excited. It wasn't a runaway success, like the promos weren't amazing, but it was fun. It was a fun segment. It kept me engaged. I don't think this has damaged anyone or anything. If anything, I think the NWA Women's Division is really solid, the way they present it anyway. I think it's a really strong women's division, and I'd like to see more going forward because they didn't have a match on this show. So maybe next week. I hope we get a nice women's segment next week, a nice women's match. That'd be nice. Thunder Rosa. More Thunder Rosa, please. And finally, we had the main event. It was a 6-man tag between Team Mordoch and Team Aldis. So you got Strictly Business and Kratos on one side. The team of Strictly Business is Timothy. I can't read my writing again. Oh no. Tom. Why did I say Timothy? I'm thinking Timothy Latimer from Doctor Who. It was Tom Latimer. Sorry about that. Tom Latimer and Chris Adonis and Kratos versus the team of Trevor Murdoch, Aaron Stevens, and the third competitor was revealed to be Tim Storm. Tim Storm, off the commentary desk, came out and they had a cracking 6-man tag. Everyone sort of got their space to shine. It started off with carnage, absolute carnage, and then it just escalated from there, leading to some decent near falls. It went longer than I thought it was going to go, so props to that. But I think the really interesting story coming out of this is the Stevens and Kratos stuff. You know, the 2 tag champs who are hopefully going to feud with each other. that was the most important, or sort of the most interesting aspect of this that I really appreciated. And from there, Tim Storm lost. Chris Adonis hit him with sort of a full Nelson slam, pinned him 1, 2, 3. Trevor Murdoch must be off our TVs for 30 days. Oh, that's going to suck. But I think it was the right call for that win though. For Adonis, Aldis' team to pick up the win, Strictly Business. And that's how the show went off there, with a very sad, disheartened Trevor Murdoch. So, on the whole, I thought this was a really fun show. Really enjoyed it. I think there were a few segments, the whole Tyrus Pope thing, I'm not particularly into. That's sort of the low point, but I think all the stuff with Strictly Business and Trevor Murdoch is gold. And that was the majority of the show for me. That's why I really liked it. I would give this a solid 3.5 out of 5 if I were rating the show weekly, which I probably will be. So, thank you all ever so much for your support. Check out my other videos, check out my playlists. I will have them hopefully above my face in a second. Thank you all ever so much for your support, and have a nice day.